Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cast Off. Puckett, Mr. X, and Benson are your judges for this season. And we found some awesome candidates in Season 2 already. Four have moved on from our Tuesday show. Tonight, four more will join our top 8 as they go into the draft mode. So, Ben, so far, I guess, before we jump into today's casters, let's talk a little bit about what you were most impressed by on Tuesday.
I think it's fair to say one individual came in and particularly kind of blew us all away. I think Jay, gotta give him some props.
18-year-old Jay.
First time he's ever casted live, period.
And he was too young for Season 1, just turned 18.
That's a pretty cool story. You know, like he had to sit there and watch Season 1. He was like, I really want to enter. Season 2 comes along. Exactly. Yeah. And I think he can use that to his advantage too if he's smart about it.
All right, Jay looked really good. Anyone else from day one that really caught your eye?
I thought Paradox was pretty good as well. Paradox had a very good cast. You know, Season 1, you know, his submission was great. His live was pretty much the opposite of great. This one, you know, his live really backed up his audition.
And Dirk came back as well. I was actually really impressed with Dirk. Very sound cast, very safe cast from him in the early rounds here.
I've been really impressed by some of the new guys we've seen in Season 2, because obviously you always expect to see some of the old guys come back and try and re-enter. They fixed a lot of nerves, I think it's fair to say, for some of the older guys. But some of the new guys don't even seem to be showing nerves, period. Which is impressive. Gunner
was right on the, right almost there. Jay was just his partner, and Jay probably started
as well.
But today we got 8 fresh faces to get into our live cast off today, including a special guest. Our first 2 for the day are going to be Mantis and OhRogerr, followed by Airlandon and Maze. Fox the Don is making his return with Valen, both Season 1 contestants there. And then we'll see Drumroll and Brian Saint. We didn't tell you on Tuesday. We confirmed it last night. Saint wants to try his hands at casting.
Dude, I'm excited because he's
very loud.
He's always a guy who's kind of, you know, talking about casting, and I've seen him tweet a couple of things.
He's on Reddit all the time, always interacting with the community.
Very, very smart individual.
And he's a pro player, so he should have that game knowledge. Like, that is, without a doubt, not going to be a question.
I just think, for me, my one worry is, can he hold a conversation? Like, live.
I've done it with him in New York City clubs.
Yeah?
I think you can do it talking about video games.
Well, okay, well, there you go.
No, seriously, though, if you're ever in New York City, look for Saint at any EDM concert. He's probably here over the summertime. Getting into the cast for the day, though, we got our first 2 contestants. It's Mantis and OhRogerr. OhRogerr, you saw him on Season 1. He is back, and John Power, a.k.a. the Mantis, is here trying his hand at casting Call of Duty. Fellas, how you doing today?
Pretty good, and you?
I'm feeling really
good.
Great. Mantis, are you frozen right now? You look good frozen.
You do look good. It's like a freeze frame. It's like a.
You got a nice little smirk on you. Mantis, let's start with you, my friend. What made you want to enter the cast off?
Well, as I said in my audition video, I've always been into the kind of YouTube broadcasting, and I got into that Call of Duty casting over my own gameplay or commentating. I don't know. I guess you guys got into a little bit of a debate there on what it was.
Benson debating with himself.
So I've been doing that for about 2 years, and it's been very enjoyable for me to kind of just have that hobby. I'm also a full-time student, and I do that rigging at my local college. So really, I've just been getting involved, and it's just been really awesome to kind of broadcast and get more into that scene. And the cast-off just seemed like the next big thing for me to go into.
Well, I got to ask you, Mantis, you said in your interview that you were on America's Got Talent or some other talent show. What was it, and what was your talent?
That's actually a good question. I was hoping you guys would ask. I'm a part of this percussion group. When I moved out to San Diego, I got very involved. I'm actually a drummer as well. So me and Drumroll got that in common. But I've been drumming around San Diego for a very long time. I joined this group called Crew. And we went on America's Got Talent performing this number we have called Tetherballs. And pretty much it's as cool as it sounds. You have a tetherball in your hand, and you're pretty much playing these giant 50-gallon drums, and you're just like on stage just going town. And it was pretty awesome, but we didn't actually make it through to the next round, so our segment never got aired. We had a very small snippet of like an NBC teaser. But other than that, it was just an experience for me.
Did you get to meet the judges?
Though.
Or was it all producers at that point?
No, it was the judges. So I got to, we actually were in LA at the Orpheum Theater performing in front of the judges and the live audience.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool. All right, so you have a little bit of experience in this type of a scenario. Let's take it over to OhRogerr, though, on the other side. Rogers, you have a bit more experience, especially when it comes to the cast-off specifically. You're back season 2. Why are you better this season than you were last season when we first saw you?
Season 1 was the first time I've ever, started casting. I've always loved live production, and I want to get into it, but as far as casting goes, that was my first jump into it. I've been practicing since then. I've been watching a lot of streams, studying, all that kind of stuff, practicing with my friends. I got a lot of time to practice with Mantis earlier this week, so just a lot of practice overall. I feel like I'm a little bit more comfortable on the mic, and the nerves aren't as bad this time around, so I feel like I'm going to do pretty good. Again,
talking about those nerves, that's something that we were talking about right at the very beginning of the show. Some of the older guys coming back, not as nervous. If there's one thing that you think we should be looking out for in your live casting this time, which is really going to excel you above your competition, what would you say that thing would be?
I'd say as far as using all of the broadcaster features to their potential, like bringing up the map a lot more, calling out the spawns, and using where you can use the analog pad to switch through and see perks and what they're using and call out oh, they're running 3 SMs and 1 BAL, and just using broadcaster to its full potential. I feel like I've been practicing that quite a bit, and I feel like that's something to look out for.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, all the information's there. It's just knowing how to use the broadcaster tool to figure it out.
It's not the hardest thing in the world to use.
I'm excited, man. Well, it looks like we have our players joining up in the lobby. It's going to take a minute to get all 11 of them. Before we get started, you said you got a chance to practice with Mantis. What were some of the things you wanted to correct from the very first time you casted together to tonight's live show?
Well, as far as season 1 goes, I cast with Foxy Down. We were talking over each other quite a bit, and mostly I think that was internet, because on my side, I didn't really hear it a whole lot, but when I watched the VOD, it was quite a bit. So one thing I really wanted to focus was our vibe and our flow, and make sure that we can get that chemistry down for this time around. Okay. And when we first started casting, honestly, we did pretty good. We had a nice vibe. We both knew exactly what we wanted to do, and we've been just practicing, and I think we've got it down pretty well.
All right, well, Mantis, it looks like the game is starting, my friend, and as the new one here on the cast-off, you are going to be hosting things first. Make sure to introduce our teams as we head to Comeback Uplink.
Thank you so much, Puckett. We're going to be jumping in to a Comeback Uplink here, and I'm really going to be looking to see if TCG is going to be able to take out this other team here, and convinced of Hip, Von, and crew. And we know that the all-important point here is actually to get control of that glass side. I'm going to be jumping on board here on that Sentinel crew to see if they're going to be able to do that and lock it down for their teammates.
Yeah, definitely. We need to see that glass control right off the bat, especially from this, Atlas side, because, if, Sentinel does get control over that glass, they're going to be able to get onto, where those containers are on that platform near mid-map, and they're going to be able to get those, 1-point throws. I would like to see, a lot of, 1-point throws going through early on in this game, not necessarily risking it going for the 2, because we've seen, in a lot of Pro League matches, going for the 2-point conversion and, not being able to do that.
So as we say that, jumping on board with Citrus here, he was actually on a 2-0 start to this game, and he was doing big things for his team there. It looked as though they were about to establish control, but he did go for the reset. That's going to be all 3 down there for that TCG squad. And it looks, again, Citrus is going to be establishing control here, pushing into yellow. And it looks like they may be able to get this here. He's going up, picks up the splash down there for 2 easy points. And that is going to be 2-0 in the first minute of this game.
Yeah, La Vegas, last one alive for his team. finally gonna drop. TCG outslaying, trying to push into the enemy base right now. Atlas just playing defensively. Citrus, you know, trying to contest this ball. Oh, we see actually a little bit of the shield coming out. Exo shield, typically don't see that. A little unorthodox for, you know, these matches. But as I say, that TCG all dead on this, you know, Sentinel side of the map. Atlas gonna, you know, be pushing up into this glass side. As we said earlier, glass control is vital for this game type.
And it looks as you're saying that the drone is going to be respawning here, and we're going to see who is going to be in contention to grab it. It looks as though all of Citrus and crew are going to be in position here. They are locking down this glass side, jumping on board with Citrus. He is taken down there, though. I want to go on with Hitbon and see if he's able to establish the control here. He's looking, but taken down by Inverted there. Unfortunate for him.
Yeah. And, you know, one down from, you know, the Sentinel team kind of trading back and forth, fighting for this glass control. You know, ball still not being used. Inverted falls. I'm going to jump on board with Pro Feezy. Actually, he falls just as well. Prembly, you know, pre-aiming glass side with this bow as Atlas tries to push up. But, you know, 2 dead from them, so they're going to just overextend through this green side and try and get this 2-point conversion.
It looks like that may be the difference here. TCG taken down there. Oh my goodness, great slaying by that Hitbon crew. It looks like Insanity is going to pick this up here, and let's kind of go through the numbers. It looks as though they're 9-6. Citrus putting up a good show here. Hitbon as well, 9-6. And going over to the TCG side, 7-8 for Silpy. He may be their objective player, going for the throw out there. And it looks like he's just throwing it for some yards. Going to be picking up Hitbon there. And I'm going to see, stay on board with him, going to this blue side. And this is definitely where you want to go if you're on the Sentinel side of the map. Gonna be able to rack up easy 2-point plays, and look, as he does, he's going to get that 2-point splash, and it's gonna tie it up 2-2.
Yeah, and it looks like as of right now, both these teams running, you know, the 3 ASM-1-1 bow playstyle. As I say that, Vegas gets a big 2-piece in his base to, you know, keep the Sentinel side off of, you know, that point and, you know, be able to slay out. As I say that, he gets another, you know, and just, you know, playing that bow defense very well, keeping them out of their base. You know, 5 seconds till this reset. We're going to see them, you know, play the ball here mid-map in just a couple seconds.
That is exactly correct. And I want to jump on board over with this Sentinel squad, the TCG guys. Inverted's going to be picking it up here, running blue once again. And blue is so important here. You need to grit that before you're going to make your way in. And again, that results in a 2-point play. And what that does, Roger, is that is going to make all of Atlas spawn over on that green side. And that is exactly what you want. It's an easy pickup. We see players like Formal and Glacier picking up crazy kills up top of that blue hut all the time as they're making their way over sandbags.
Yeah, as you know, and as you were talking, another 2 go in for the Sentinel squad. They're going to be up 6-2, 60 seconds left. Atlas, you know, they're going to have to fight very hard, especially on this side, because, you know, this is the favored side right now, and they are down. They need to, you know, in this next 45 seconds, you know, try and push up and get a couple points here. As I say that, all go down but one. La Vegas, you know, fighting pretty hard right now.
And great pickup there by Las Vegas, picking up 2, and that is going to be a 3-kill streak from him, 16-10. He is doing some great stuff for his team. Insanity trying to sneak through. He definitely needs to pick it up here. Only 5-11 KD, but as I say that, he's making his way into the goal, and that is going to be a splashdown again for that 2-point play. And they're not really going for the 1-point throws here, Roger. It's a bit interesting. I'd like to maybe see them try and do some bank shots. We see teams do that quite often when they're on that unfavored side.
Definitely. And, you know, as, you know, at the very end, another cap goes in from that Sentinel TCG side, 8-4 at halftime. That is going to be pretty good. I would like to go on board with Atlas actually off the rip on this next side. They need to start, you know, mounting their comeback, slaying out a little bit more. Maybe run maybe 2 bows. I know you typically don't see that on this, but they need to start slaying out a little bit more.
All right, thank you guys. We'll stop you there at the half. We'll let our players continue to play this one out. We kind of threw you guys through a loop from the get-go. Didn't tell you the name of the second team. Apologies for that. That was infamous. John, I thought you did a pretty good job of trying to handle it. You know, we were in a loading screen. You couldn't look at all of the gamer tags, and you just went on. You did know Hitbon was in the game. So after that moment, you called Hitbon and the crew. I felt like you kind of handled that pretty well. If you're ever in the situation again, I'd go with Atlas. Hipfon and the team is playing as the Atlas crew, and here the Atlas team is playing really well against TCG or our red team in that scenario. But nice job trying to make that one work. It was, honestly, though, a pretty rough start for both of you guys. It seemed it took a while for you to get into your comfort zone and to find your stride. It was a little bit sporadic in the first 2 minutes.
I'm going to go on a limb and say I don't think it found that stride. Throughout that whole first 5 minutes, we were talking about nerves. Roger, the amount of times you said in that was a little rough. It was a lot of times. Big props, though, for picking up on the shield. That was something I was very impressed with. You noticed the shield. There was a moment where you called Pemby. I think you said Prembly.
Yeah, Prembly.
Prembly instead of Pemby.
Pemby, yeah.
Yeah. As well, lots of use of the word ball, too, which is a massive pet peeve. It's a satellite drone. And neither of you guys mentioned EMPs either. Something that was being used a lot in that game. No one mentioned that. Some notes on Mantis. I felt like you were forcing it a little bit at times. Also, splashdown. Never heard that before for a 2-point play. Just something I picked up on. You guys may disagree on that.
A 2-point splash, you can kind of see that in some other sports.
Name one.
Basketball.
What happens to all the European
swimming is
like, I had no idea what you were talking about at that point. Yeah. I felt like you were forcing vocab a little bit, trying to use fancy words, and at times I think you stumbled a little bit with that. And there was one point when you were casting, you mentioned a 2-point play, and you didn't mention the fact that he pulled the shield out. Had he not pulled the shield out, he 100% would have died. Just a couple of notes.
Boom. Matt, why don't you go ahead and start with Mantis here for me?
The start for Mantis, I would say, he said big things. The guy was like 2-0. And we haven't really seen
no big things happening.
There's no really
in the first
big
30
things happening
seconds.
at 2-0. Then some of the other stuff that kind of bothered me, like not as much. I mean, I kind of had the same things as a lot of you guys, but super generic like call-outs, like over there. Like, where is over there? Like, I don't know where over there is. You got to be really specific with that stuff. With the OhRogerrs, you started off well, and then it was, I didn't know who I was on with. The you knows a lot. There's a lot of that. Did a nice job, though, noting the shield. And then towards the end, I started to get lost a little bit. That's like from both, like, combined.
Yep.
I just really didn't know what was going on or where I was or what was happening.
You're in New York, Matt. Okay.
I know, I'm here.
I'll start with Rogers. Rogers, at one point you said 7 times in 2 sentences.
Oh, wow.
The you-knows were all over the place to the point where the chat was just spamming, we know. So that is your That is your all right. That is your right there. So you need to put that down and get rid of it and figure out why are you going to the because you're spitting out your sentence fine in the YouTube videos. You're going through and you're nailing it there. You're gonna make me do it all day. But I think you need to go back, watch this cast down if you make it to the next round and really reevaluate, because this was one of the rougher casts. Yeah. I think actually last season with Fox it was a little bit smoother than this one. Both of you guys just didn't seem to be confident, and I think that's going to be a key moving forward.
Yep.
Be a little bit more descriptive with the map. Mantis over-inflecting, hitting those a little bit too hard. It was also peppered commentary. It seems like you kind of got stuck in a rut with your routine, and it was the same monotonous delivery with over-inflecting, which really was driving me crazy because I was like, it's the same pacing. If I would draw out what you're saying, it would have the same peaks and valleys, but it was just too much, a little bit forced. You did feel a little bit more comfortable 3 minutes in. You were Mantis. You were John Power. You were not someone who was just trying to cast at me. You were telling me what was going on in the game. So I think you did get a little bit better as it went on. But all honesty, guys, it was a little bit of a shaky start to open up the show. I think we are going to see better casts from both of you, and good luck to whoever the fans choose to put through to the next round. Before we go to the next group of casters, though, and let the fans vote, I want to give both of you an opportunity to plead for your spot in the next round to the audience, starting with you, Rogers.
I've always wanted to, go into esports, and I want to have a career in esports, and I feel like this is a step in the right direction. As far as casting goes, I absolutely love it. It's something that, it's still something I'm familiar with because I used to play like music on stage and stuff like that. And I feel like once I get in front of a large crowd, I'll be able to, you know, hype everyone up and, you know, just have that energy and bring it to X Games. And I feel like I will be able to explain to, like, you know, new viewers as well, you know, how this game's played out, and, you know, how the game is played. And, you know, I just find it like a lot of fun and very entertaining. And, you know, I want to do this. So if you guys vote me through, I appreciate it. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Rogers. And over now to Mantis.
Hi, guys. Really, this has always just been kind of a hobby of mine, but it's something that I really think that I have the opportunity to bring it to the next level. I have a lot of energy, as you can probably see, and Puckett definitely gave me some good notes there with the over-inflecting. I think I can definitely improve on that and really kind of slow it down a little bit. I got definitely overexcited, and that definitely hampered my performance today. But I assure you, in future, if you do vote me through, I will definitely be working harder and trying to get better. And the biggest thing for me is X Games has always been a dream of mine to go to. I was huge into extreme sports, and I've been skating, skateboarding, and surfing and all the extreme sports for about 6 years now, and it's just a huge passion of mine as well. So I would just love to go and enjoy that area of every extreme sport. It'd just be so amazing. And then throwing COD into the mix would be the cherry on top. But I want to thank you for coming out, and I appreciate you watching.
All right, thank you, Mantis. Thank you, Rogers. Fans, their fate is in your hands. Let us know. Use the hashtags tonight. Who do you want to make it through to the next round? Is it CO Mantis? Is it CO Roger?
I already know.
You know?
Matt knows.
We know.
Do we know?
Do you know? We'll find out after the commercial break.